You sold part of it to Jeff Bezos?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, personally, not Amazon.
He didn't go to college. He didn't have a degree. But Mitch Free went from sweeping shop floors to selling part of his company to Jeff Bezos. Yes, that Jeff Bezos. And if you're someone who's ever questioned whether trade school is worth it, or if you're a parent trying to guide your kid, Mitch's story might just change the way you think about education, ambition, and success. This is Manufacturing Runs the World. You've had a very prolific career in manufacturing. Did it start with your company or did it start prior to that?
Oh, it started prior to that. I went to trade school early on.
Right.
Did a 1-year program there. And before that, I tried college, 1 semester, and I failed miserably. And I realized that college wasn't for me. Machining seemed interesting and like it was something that I could get passionate about. So I did a 1-year program and finished that. And then I went to work at a shop that was oddly enough doing automotive tool and die in one division and aerospace machining in another division. I was fortunate to work in both. I got some automotive tool and die experience and aerospace machining experience. I spent 6 years working there, doing that kind of through more of a formal apprenticeship program, actually, which doesn't exist a lot these days.
And then at what point did you decide to kind of start the business on your own?
Yeah, that was it was a bit down the road. I got recruited from where I started my machining career over to Northwest Airlines, and they were looking for someone to come in and set up rapid manufacturing of aircraft parts. So parts that they needed for the aircraft, and they would check with the OEM, with the surplus market, see if they could find the part, and if they couldn't, and it was something that we could make, then we wanted to reverse engineer and make it in order to get the airplanes flying and not sitting in the hangar or sitting outside canceling flights. You can only imagine the revenue impact to, canceling lots of flights while you're waiting on parts.
Yeah.
So I set that up at the airline. While I was doing that, there were a few other processes things I helped them out with. I got a couple of patents there. One on a system that inspects jet engine fan blades using laser beams. And then another one was a high pressure water system to remove coatings from jet engine components that was controlled by a gantry robot and water at 55,000 PSI, rotating nozzle, and then ultrasonic sensors or standoffs to make sure that the water doesn't get too close and damage the metal. So a couple of patents there, got rapid reverse engineering machining cell up and running, and got all that. And then they said, how about role as a project manager in aircraft acquisitions? So I transitioned from that to something I knew very little about, and that was acquiring airplanes and overseeing the overhaul of those airplanes.
Okay.
So when an airline buys an airplane, they have to reconfigure a lot of things to their standards. So it matches their other airplanes, what their pilots are used to, what their other simulators are configured. So we would buy the airplane, we would go through it and inventory all the parts on it, the brands, the model numbers, and then change out the ones we needed to. So I sort of lived with these airplanes while they went through major overhaul processes. And I did about 30 airplanes, and just kept moving up the ladder there at the airline. I had an opportunity in the late 90s to start a CAD CAM software business. So I started that business, left the airline, started that business, took my chance to be an entrepreneur. Did super well with that. And one of the things that I noticed in the course of that business was that my design customers were interested in finding out who could manufacture the things they were designing. And my manufacturing customers were always looking for new customers and leads. So I was always introducing, putting them together. And one day in 1999, and I hear this commercial on the radio for lendingtree.com. Request your mortgage, let lenders compete. And I thought, holy smoke, what a great idea. I wonder if anyone's done that in manufacturing.
Yeah.
So I went home and I researched, found that there was nothing I could find. So I created what is probably the first online marketplace for custom manufacturing. It was mfg.com.
Yeah.
So MFG, just like manufacturing. And I ran that business and grew that business till 2013. So over 13 years, we served globally with offices all over the world, facilitating global manufacturing trade. In the middle of that, I sold part of that business to Jeff Bezos. And then I sold a chunk to Fidelity after that, and then the rest for private equity group in 2013.
Wow. You sold part of it to Jeff Bezos?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, personally, not Amazon. So the way that happened is his engineers, his early days engineers at Blue Origin were using my service to get prototype parts made.
Yeah.
And they told Jeff about it. This is great. We upload designs, it matches up to manufacturers, they give us quotes online. And so Jeff took a real interest in it and had one of his assistants call me up, left a voicemail and said, "Hey, I work for Jeff Bezos and he wants to meet you." Next thing you know, I'm going to Seattle and we're hanging out, and Jeff bought part of the company from me.
Wow.
It was really good having him as a partner and getting together for dinners and talking, So that was good. So sold that business in three chunks. Took about a year off, and I did so because honestly I had cancer. That was the reason. That was the reason I sort of sold the last chunk of it, colon cancer, and I thought that's the end. Life's over. I didn't even get to enjoy the money,
Uh-huh.
But it turns out I was able to have the surgeries and got it just in time and was able to recoup. So took some time to recover. Thought about what I wanted to do. I didn't think I was going to go in the machining business.
Uh-huh.
I thought I wanted to create an ERP system for the machining sector. So I started working on that, and then I realized I didn't really understand the problem. I had not machined anything in a long time. So I bought a CNC milling machine, set up a little small shop, and reached out to some people that I knew and said, "Hey, I'm not really in the machining business, but I'd like to take some orders so I could experience and live the process. I want to quote it. You want to be a PO. I want to buy the material. I want to go through the making the parts and QC inspections and QC reports and a whole 9 yards." People sent me some orders, and I started doing it all myself. I'm programming, I'm running the CNC machine. And it was, to be honest, it was quite refreshing.
Yeah.
After running an internet company in a digital world for 13 years, and then actually get my hands dirty again, making parts, But it was really nice to kind of reset that.
Yeah.
And in the course of that, one guy told another, and the next thing you know, I'm just getting more and more and more requests for people for me to make parts. I started realizing maybe that's the real opportunity. Maybe it's not creating a cloud-based ERP.
Yeah.
So I started, so maybe I should just listen to what the universe is telling me. I just kept taking orders, bought more machines, hired people, and then the next thing you know, here we are today, 10, 11 years past that, with a pretty darn significant machining business called ZYCI, when primarily in the aerospace defense sector, robotics, things, we really focus on things that are very critical. Critical parts, high attention to detail, lots and lots of demand, right? Customers are, no one does sales, no one does marketing. I've never spent $1 on marketing, and we stay as full as we want to stay.
Yeah.
The sales is easy, execution is the hard part.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty prolific. Obviously, I jumped on the website and did some research, as a good interviewer does before they meet someone. You're pretty prolific online there. So is it all you?
Yeah, all me. Yeah, I don't have any help. I just whatever I think, or But I've had some really good PR opportunities through the years.
Right.
Years ago, I was on CNBC CEO Council. Forbes had me as a guest columnist for quite a while. And so I was able to get out there quite a bit, wrote a book, been in a lot of books. That stuff helps. But I haven't really pursued that. It's just, I just hit head down, focus, try to build a good business, take care of my customers, love my employees. And I think when you do that, good things happen.
Yeah, that used to be the mantra of my company in my early days, is the reward for good work is more work.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what I'll tell people as I mentor people that, they're looking to raise a whole lot of money to venture capital or something, and then who's going to buy the company, and they worry about it. And I said, don't focus on that. Just focus on getting a product that customers love.
Yeah.
And everything else will take care of itself. Bootstrap it, get it going, go as far as you can, minimum viable product. There are people out there whose job is to find great investments.
Right.
If you're doing something really well and you're focused and you're creating a buzz about it, don't worry. The investors or whoever you want will find you. But if you go looking for them and you're not focusing all your attention on your customers and your product and your value proposition, then you're not going to find the money because you're chasing the wrong thing.
Yeah, just like you. You get a phone call from Jeff Bezos' assistant, and
and how many times could I have tried to call in to get hey, I'm calling to talk to Jeff Bezos, right?
Yeah.
Never would have happened. I mean, I wouldn't have got through. So you can't chase those. You have to become attractive so they come to you.
Yeah.
And you do that by creating real value.
Sure. And it looks like you have a lot of customers. Is there one single product that you love working on that, this excites me? I want to get more work like this.
Everything we do is just exciting because we try to really understand the input to what our input is to that product. And I would say the vast majority of our customers are doing really important stuff, whether it's making drugs in space because they can increase the yield and make cancer drugs cheaper, or other really cool things related to national defense or developing certain technologies, or in robotics that are enabling companies to scale and compete with low-cost countries. I would say most everything we do has got a good story behind it.
Yeah.
And we're contributing to something that matters. Where we feel like we're contributing, and my employees can get excited and they feel proud. And when they see that thing in the market or read a story about it, they get really excited.
Yeah, and you mentioned robots.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Industry 4.0 is real big right now, and it looks like a lot of the machines you have inherently have kind of automation built into it, right? A lot of CNC machines.
Sure.
What's your take on this whole Industry 4.0, mindset?
It amazes me at manufacturing and machining at how much it continues to evolve. I've got to say, years ago, I thought, man, this is good as it's going to get. What else is there to invent? But everything gets more accurate. The CAM software just continues to blow me away with some of the strategies, the high-speed machining, rapid metal removals, some of the AI tools that are coming in to help with that now. Automation for part handling, part loading, the vision system of how smart these things are. They're not just dumbly taking apart, loading in the machine, taking it out. There's a lot of intelligence there. And I think that will only continue. Now, we're never going to remove humans from the equation. It's just too detailed, too much in it, right? So it's never going to be fully automated or taken away, but they're going to assist and make people more productive. To an extent, that helps close some of the gap on people that are on countries or places that aren't quite as technologically forward as we are.
This might be an interesting question for you. Take all the knowledge that you have up until now, go back to your 20-year-old self. You have 50 grand to start a manufacturing shop or get into manufacturing. How do you get into it?
Well, first of all, I'd say don't do it. I would say you're not ready, probably. As I look at going back to my 20-year-old self, the experiences that I got along the way, had I started my own business in my 20s without that, I probably wouldn't have been a fraction as successful. Don't do it until you've got the well-rounded experience, till you have done sales, that you've done finance, that you've managed people, you've managed some things where you know what you're doing. Then you could take your hand in entrepreneurship and try your hand in being a business owner.
Yeah.
But I think until you've done those things, you're setting yourself up for a pretty tough road.
What's the name of your book?
There's called The Great Disruption, and it was a book I wrote in 2015, and it was sort of about the disruption that additive manufacturing will have in certain sectors because of the things that you can make. Very complex geometries. There's no tax for complexity. And when someone designs a complex part to have it machined, it really drives up the cost, the lead time, everything. The additive manufacturing 3D printer, if you will, it doesn't really care. It's just going to print it regardless if it's simple or complex. Right? As people continue to learn how to leverage that no tax for complexity, break their traditional mindset of how they have designed things for machining, which is where people tend to gravitate, I think things will get more and more creative and will take advantage of that. Not going to replace people. I have yet to see a metal additive part that does not get machined after it's printed. You have to establish datums, put holes, bring some critical features, size. So it still gets machining. But I think additive manufacturing has a place. I think It will continue, the applications will continue to emerge. Machines will get better, they'll get faster. It'll be easier to switch from one material to another. So that was sort of the thesis of the book, the Great Disruption.
Yeah, you have an interesting mindset on manufacturing. You have kind of a old school manufacturing heart, and then you have this digital mindset where you seem very accepting of the new technologies.
Oh yeah.
And how they shape the future. What do you attribute that mindset to?
From the very early days, I've always been, very digital forward with, programming. Gosh, many years ago, I taught myself the first language was Pascal, and then C++. Developed systems at the airline for patents there. I wrote the code for those for motion control, sensor control. Always just like to figure things out, right? And then just sort of digital forward. We all have these things come along that can be disruptive to our business, disruptive to our personal life, disruptive to our job. There's no need to fight it. You're better off to embrace it, figure out how to leverage it, because it will not stop for you.
You're like a person I feel like I could probably talk to for about 2 hours on the industry, and then probably go for a beer and drink 2 hours.
If you make it down to Atlanta, let me know.
Okay, we'll do it. Yeah, if you're ever up in Milwaukee, happy to show you around.
Well, thanks for reaching out. I'm glad it worked for us connecting today.
Yeah, likewise.
All right, buddy. Well, take care. It's a pleasure, and good luck.
Thank you. We'll be
keep in touch. Keep in touch. All right.